If you've been following this series of videos, you'll remember that in the video on building inventory, we touched on the topic of barcode or QR coding the equipment during that inventory. This is a pretty important topic and one that deserves its own video, so here we go. With the proliferation of CMMS and asset management systems that include support for mobile devices, the ability to scan barcodes and QR codes is now easier than ever. The question remains, though, should you barcode or QR code your equipment? This is a fairly simple question with a potentially difficult answer, but one that only you can decide. We will try to share some of the benefits and drawbacks so that you can make the best decision for your location. The first question to ask is, what do you hope to gain by labeling your equipment? There has to be a good reason to expend the effort and time it will take to label everything and then to maintain those labels. Even the best ones don't last forever. One reason that you may not want to go through the time and the expense to barcode is if you have a relatively small number of pieces of equipment that you need to maintain and that you have a naming convention in place that is already suitable. For instance, if you're managing just one or a few buildings and have a naming convention in place that accurately describes the equipment like Package Rooftop Unit South or RTU-S, then you may not need to make a change to that system. However, if your portfolio includes several buildings, or if the buildings have lots of equipment to maintain, then labeling them does make some good sense. If you decide that your existing naming convention works well for you and you do not need to label your equipment, you're all set for now and you can go on to the other videos in this series. However, if you're curious about labeling and how to do so effectively, let's continue on. When it comes to labeling your equipment, there are a lot of choices. If you're not looking to have the ability to scan a barcode or QR code, labels as simple as the labels produced from a commercially available label maker like a Brother P-Touch may be okay, provided they're not going to be exposed to any of the elements. If they are, something like custom laser-etched or engraved plastic labels might work better. These have the advantage of being durable in the elements and are often some of the most legible types of labels to purchase. On the downside, you will need to order them ahead with specific wording that you want on them. They are also best suited for flat surfaces, which makes them ideal for electrical panels and large HVAC equipment, but are a little more challenging for equipment that doesn't have as many flat surfaces like, say, pumps or some fans. All of the information so far has been for labeling equipment without bar or QR codes. If your facility has a lot of equipment and you want to make sure that your technicians are working on the right piece of equipment when they go out to do a job, then a bar or QR label may be a good choice. Barcodes are familiar and they've been effectively used for decades in the consumer products world. While they may seem fairly technical, the series of wide and narrow bars translate into a series of numbers. These numbers can uniquely identify a piece of equipment, meaning that the technician can verify that he is about to work on the right piece of equipment before he even digs his tools out. Barcodes may seem old school right now, but one unique benefit they have versus the newer QR or other 2D type of labels is that the number that the lines represent are typically printed just below the bars. This means a technician can still read the barcode even if his mobile app stops working. Moving on to the more modern label type, the QR code is a 2D type of machine scannable image that can be used to bring up a variety of information. Depending on how it is utilized, it has the ability to include text, numbers, or even an HTML code that can be used as a link to a web page for the manufacturer, a page on the CMMS system, or any other equipment data that can be accessed via hyperlink, as well as additional information about the equipment beyond just the equipment number. QR codes have the ability to represent up to 7,000 digits or 4,000 characters of text, which gives them the ability to represent a lot of information. If there is vital information about the equipment that you want your technicians to have access to immediately when they scan the code, this could be the right choice. Take some time and look through the capabilities of your CMMS or asset management software that you are using to find out what options are available to you. Next, working with your technicians and their supervisors, identify the key requirements for the system that you intend to use. From this discussion and analysis, make your choice on labeling. One last topic when discussing barcodes for identifying equipment is the numbering scheme. In the early days of deploying computerized maintenance management software, or CMMSs, the thought was that there was some intrinsic value in a hierarchical naming structure that might go something like this: BAS-RTU-001, where the first three letters, in this case BAS, represent a building name or abbreviation. The second group of letters, RTU, identify the type of equipment. in this case a packaged rooftop AC unit. And the last group of digits were a serialized number that were a subset of equipment, meaning that at a separate building you could also have an RTU-001 because it would be preceded by a different building prefix. This all makes sense, and in fact was probably a carryover from the non-computerized days where having a hierarchy such as this helped the technicians look at an equipment number and already have a pretty good idea of where to find it. However, computers do not need this sort of hierarchy to assign a unique identifier to a piece of equipment. It really just needs a unique serialized number, and this is what we recommend. By using a plain, unique number, you have a bit more flexibility when it comes to ordering labels. They can be ordered ahead of time in economic quantities, and you don't need to worry about ordering them with custom specific codes. From a practical standpoint, this also makes sense because if a label goes missing or becomes damaged, a new one from the pre-printed stock can be affixed to the equipment and the new number recorded in the system. If you are using a custom numbering system and the label gets lost or damaged, or the equipment gets moved to a new building, then you'll have to order a single, unique, and likely costly label to replace it. The last decision to make when ordering labels is the label stock. You could purchase a label maker that could print bar or QR codes in-house, which offers the ability to produce new ones when needed. However, from our experience, these labels are printed on a synthetic base that offers some weather resistance, but are subject to degradation from heat, rain, and can sometimes be damaged by abrasion or chemicals. For light-duty, indoor, and relatively clean locations, these can be an inexpensive solution. However, if you're going to be placing these labels in harsh environments, exposed to the elements or chemicals, it is hard to beat embossed, engraved, or etched metallic labels. You'll need to choose the type that works best for your environment and that has the options for the type of barcoding that you're looking for. But if you can afford these, they would typically last the longest. We hope you found this information useful. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons to make sure that you stay informed of upcoming videos. For more information, visit our website at www.misho-engineering.com, and you'll find a link in the description. Thank you.